Our small group theme from today is you can't keep secrets from God. I'll tell you a story about Joe and Julie. They were married for quite a long time, and one night Joe said he was late from work, but he wasn't late from work. He was out with another woman. They had been seeing each other for quite a while, and he thought that his wife was completely unaware. But Julie sensed something wasn't quite right. He hasn't been as attentive as he was recently, and she's noticed some other small changes. One time when Joe was out with another woman, one of Julie's friends saw them, snapped a picture of them kissing, and sent it to Julie. Joe was shocked that his secret had been found out. He said it started as an innocent relationship at work, but Julie's response was very revealing. If it was innocent at work, why didn't you talk about her when I asked you about your day and how work was going? Ouch. In his book, Steve Farrar, in Finishing Strong, sums up a terrible price of sin. Sin will take you farther than you want to go, keep you longer than you want to stay, and cost you more than you're willing to pay. Why didn't Joe tell his wife when he felt tempted? Every guy I know is saying, "Are you crazy? That would be bad for my marriage." Really? Is it better for your marriage to fall apart because you're afraid to deal with the problem early on instead of when it's too late? If Joe had told Julie earlier, they could have worked together to help them deal with the temptation. They could have gotten help, and it would have strengthened their marriage instead of almost destroyed it. If Julie had known sooner, if Joe only would have told her sooner. Sometimes we treat God like this. We get caught up in sin and we don't talk to him about it. But he knows what's going on, and he's waiting for us to come to him with our temptations. I'd like you to take a few minutes now as a group and discuss the benefits we have because God knows everything about us, and he's waiting there to help us.
Welcome to the Sin Makes You Stupid Project. This is chapter 4. You can't keep secrets from God. And as we get started, let's just be clear about one thing. It's not an option. You can't keep secrets from God. The title of the chapter isn't "You shouldn't keep secrets from God," or "It's a bad idea to keep secrets from God," or "You'll have all kinds of problems in life if you keep secrets from God." The title is "You can't keep secrets from God." You can't. He's omnipresent. He's omniscient. He is the Spirit who lives inside you. He knows every intimate thought that you have. He knows he's there with you every waking moment and every sleeping moment. He knows what goes on in your head and your heart, and at that those sudden moments where you have to make quick decisions, he's right there. He knows all these things. You can't keep secrets from God, and it's futile to try. And I don't know if it's insanity that some people try, but people still think that they can get something by God sometimes, and it's futile to try. It's also important to realize that it's foolish to try to keep secrets from God. If he really knows everything that goes on, and he really knows what thought process you use when you go through and make your decisions. And remember, wisdom is in all the little decisions you make every day. It's not the big, huge problem decisions that change the world. It's decisions that you make every 5 minutes, every 2 minutes. That's wisdom, the decisions where you decide whether to turn to your right and to your left. And God knows if you consider him in those decisions. And when you don't consider that he is aware of what you're thinking and he's aware of your decision, then you're basically making decisions irrespective of what God thinks and what God cares. And that's foolish and dangerous. Proverbs 1 and Proverbs 9 both say that the beginning of wisdom is the fear of the Lord, and the beginning of knowledge is the fear of the Lord. And just coming to grips with the simple fact that God knows what's going on and acting on it and taking into consideration the fact that he's right there listening to you and talking to you, should lead you down a path of wisdom. And it's super critical to be consistent, because what this really shows is what you believe. People always act based on their beliefs, and if you act like God's not there, the question you have to ask yourself is, do you really believe He is there? People say they believe a lot of things, but their behavior betrays what's really in their heart. And so, it's futile to try to keep secrets from God, and it's foolish to try to keep secrets from God. And this never-ending presence of God can seem like a burden. It can for some people, they can come to the conclusion that they can't escape God, and that that God's this cloud or this weight on their shoulders, and He's like some presence or some force or some weight that they can never escape from. And it can seem like a burden, and it can generate this tension in your life. And what you have to realize is this is exactly the wrong response. This is good news. This is great news that God is with you all the time, and God knows what's going on, and that you can't keep secrets from God. It's fabulous news. First of all, it's important to realize that because of this, there's hope. Romans 5:8. Chapter 5, verses 6 through 8 read, you see, at the right time, when we were still powerless, Christ died for the ungodly. Very rarely will anyone die for a righteous person, though for a good person, someone might possibly dare to die. But God demonstrates His own love for us in this, that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us. Or while we were still sinners, Christ died for us. God loved you when you were a sinner. He loved you before you came to know Him. That moment when you turned your life over to Him, He was there. You were a sinner. He accepted you then. And since then, He still accepts you. And He accepted you on the basis of what His Son did for you. And He sent His Son to die for you while you were still a sinner. If God loved you before you became a believer, He certainly loves you since you became a believer. And so this is hope, that He loves you and He accepts you now in spite of what goes on in your life. So you worry about this darkness somehow making God not love you or something. God loves you in spite of that. And this should bring hope that He knows you and loves you anyway. It is truly an unconditional love, and it's a love that you can always count on, especially going forward now. Secondly, there's help. 1 Corinthians 10:13 says this, no temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind. God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear. But when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so you can endure it. So there's help. God knows you intimately, and because He knows you exactly and He knows you perfectly, and He knows what goes on in you, and He knows exactly what's going on in that moment of temptation, He knows exactly how to speak to you. And He promises that He will be there at that moment of temptation to give you what you need to get through it. And so you have to trust Him to give you His power to deal with that. And so there's this help comes, and it comes largely because God is right there at that moment, understanding what you're going through, feeling it with you, and sensing every thought and every pain and every emotion that goes through your heart and your mind. He's right there, so He can help you. So, in review, it's futile to try to keep secrets from God. You can't. It's foolish to try, or insane to try, because you know He's going to know. And if you know He's going to know and you behave differently, then that's just crazy. And then this is good news because there's hope, because it demonstrates that He loves you anyway. And it proves that He's going to continue to accept you and continue to love you and continue to hold you, and nothing's going to separate you from Him, from His love. And then finally, there's help. When you're struggling, when you're feeling emotional stress, whatever's going through your mind and your heart, He is right there understanding it completely, and He knows how to help you with that. So the question is, do you believe it?